Thanks, Dave Reynolds. And going to, of course, talk about the Mavic 3. When I came on, the Mini 3, I'm sorry, when I came on, I was all set to give you guys just a sound effect of the frog. This thing does look like a frog, and we'll definitely talk more on that as far as the looks, because it's funny when you say, oh, when I start calling it the frog. When we first saw the pictures of it and I saw those big sensors, the first thing I said was a frog. And then as you continue saying that, people are actually starting to get offended when you say that. Like, just because you say it looks like a frog, you're automatically counting this thing out. And, well, people are very sensitive these days, so I don't really need to say much more. I'm going to go ahead and bring in, well, you guys know who I'm bringing in, but we're bringing in somebody else as well who appears on my channel from time to time when we do a live that is relevant to him, when he has an interest in it, or he's going to find himself purchasing one. And we'll bring him in first, and that would be good old Don from Little Mountain Life. How you doing, Don?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Good to see you. I see you guys got like 5 or 6 inches of snow today.
Yeah.
You are delayed. And still delayed. Let's bring in Chad. There he is. Don is frozen.
Is it working now?
Yeah, you're working now.
Did Chris go away? Chad, are you there?
No,
Wait.
I'm here. I'm here. Chad's in here now.
All right, my bad.
You good?
Okay, so you got some snow today, I see.
Yeah, just short of 5 inches.
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing your ruler in there. Chad, did you guys get any snow in Virginia?
No,
in your part of Virginia?
No, just some rain. Yeah, I think we got some freezing rain earlier, but it's just rain.
Were they calling for anything?
Not that I know of.
No,
I think so. I think it was just
my
rain.
next question was, since if they were calling for it, did they close schools before anything happened, and then nothing happened? Because that's normally what happens in Northern Virginia.
Yeah. It was just it didn't start raining until after school started. Well, right before school started, but they weren't calling for. I don't think they were calling for any snow or sleet or whatever. I don't know.
I didn't even pay attention to the weather, and I was at work, and I was at lunch and looked outside, and all of a sudden I see this wind and snow blowing sideways, and then I was planning on leaving early anyhow, and I'm glad I did, because the roads were bad. It was like ice on the bottom of the snow, so you didn't dare stop on a slanted road, because when I did almost come to a stop, my car started sliding sideways towards a ditch, and I was like, oh, let's go, and just kept plowing through. So it was a fun ride. We'll run through and do a little roll call-y here. And of course Don's here, and Chad's here, and Dale Briggs, Mike Renock, Joe Powers, Guido, Jeremy Boyce, your cousin. And you and I both have cousins now. I have a Wade subscriber, and we have a Boyce. And Maddie from Maddie's Drone World. And Are You Serious? And B. Wayne, how you doing? B. Wayne and Anna Lee. And Chris Wedgeworth, how you doing, buddy? Mad Max. Hope your back's feeling better today and you're in a better mood, you little pissy fart. He was a little, not really taken aback, but he was one that commented about who cares what it looks like. I don't understand what all the hype's about, but he then later explained to me that he hadn't slept in 24 hours, his back was killing him, and he's got some serious back issues. So, but Mad Max just busting your balls there. The View Chaser, David Reynolds, Gene Fox, Thomas Baker, Eric Van, why did I say Van Nostren, and John at Flying Flynn Media, and Hal 9000, Joel, is it Elcard? Joel something card. Greg Pittman, good to see you as well. And love to say hi to everybody, but I hate to drag on when there's a lot of conversation that's been happening and I'm trying to scroll through fast. I don't want to miss anybody, but I don't want to drag on. Bob, Casey, Ariels, and I know I'm going to skip some, but I don't know about you guys, but it drives me crazy when a live show spends forever doing the roll call. So that's why I'm kind of rushing through. Like Adrian Mateo Drone will stop for every single person that comes into the chat. He'll stop a full conversation and talk to that person, which is very nice and respectful, but I get distracted and then I tune out. Yeah, so I think that's everybody for the most part, and maybe we'll pick you up in the chat. I am sorry if I missed you, did not mean to. 45 people in here, so what we're going to do is talk about the DJI Mini 3, of course, and I'm going to bring up the images, bring up a slideshow type thing, all the latest images we've all already seen. But it's funny because one thing in one of the first images we saw of the actual drone, the one where it's laying down on the ground or sitting down on the ground, probably taking off or possibly landing, and then up in the sky. I think I mentioned this to you guys in a group chat maybe yesterday or day before, when I was going to put a video out about nobody talking about the stance of this drone, as far as how it's like that. It's something that if anybody was talking about it, it hasn't been a big deal. So those are going to be the first two pictures that pop up, because those are probably, even though they're not your great crisp clear pictures, those are probably my favorite pictures as far as really revealing something, except for maybe the images we also have of like the camera head on and what that reveals. But I'll go ahead and bring that up, and then also I want to ask of you two just to kind of run back over like specs that we do definitely know about based on the pictures I'm going to show, and I can always flip back to pictures or whatever, and then the rumored. I dug more into the rumored 2 versions, and I did find an article, and I was trying to find it before this to pop it up, but it was stated by somebody at DJI that they were originally going to do 2 models, and then they decided to go just with the Pro. So that does kind of confirm that it is 1 model, and I guess it might confirm controller. I don't know. That's something we'll talk about too. Don, you and I kind of chatted about that. But if there's anything you guys need to add or want to say before I pull them up.
Where did you read that bit about there being 2 models and them just 1?
Well, why did you ask that? Because that is why I can't find it. I was reading it. It's one of those things. I'll close it and I'll go back, and it'll be it'll still be in my thing. But I had opened up something else, and I tried going back, clicking the back arrow, and it didn't take me to that article. So it wasn't on any of the who was it? That's going to drive me crazy. Maybe it'll just pop in my head when we're talking about all this, but it wasn't our typical leak sources, I guess. But I guess we should just give a shout out ahead of time right now to who has spread all the images. Of course, would be Jasper Ellens. Credit goes to you for the images and to Deal's Drone. All right, so let's pull them up, and of course, the first image has to be the frog. So we're going to start off, and this is what I was saying is pretty much one of my favorites, and it's just because it reveals the fact of that stance I was talking about. And I really didn't pay much mind to like motor pitch or anything like that until we got into these newer images, and then you definitely see those motors are pitched. So its flying stance is definitely going to be like this. At full speed, I don't know if that will change, or if that's just the way it's going to run, how that's going to affect aerodynamics, if that's going to benefit it, or if your typical whatever angle forward would benefit better. But I mean, I don't feel like I have the concerns of any wind with this one as we had with this soon to be very forgotten Nano Plus here. But that right there, when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then you see the next picture that comes up in it, where it's actually up in the air and holding that same stance. And at least from this angle that it was taken from 2,000 yards away with a shitty camera. Don't you love how that always happens? Like, it looks pretty extreme in that picture.
I wonder if it's
what's that?
I wonder if it's backing up. It could be. You never know.
Very well, but I mean, if you look at the pitch, it looks like when it flies, it might actually kind of pitch up just a little bit more. Like if that's the way they have the forward thrust to keep it that way, it could possibly be, giving it a little more push with the tail down to keep that stance. Or, I mean, that could be in the wind, or like you said, it could be actually backing up. But the big key right here that really made sense to me, Chad, when I think you first said, hey, the sensors are in the back. You first spotted the real pictures, I think, with the sensors in the back. We all saw those sketches early on where just somebody had an arrow pointing and said sensors in the back, but it never actually showed sensors. And I think you showed me the very first picture where it actually showed those sensors. And now if you look at this, you look at that stance and you look at those rear sensors, there's no maybe that those are rear sensors. Those sensors make 100% sense now. Before, when I was thinking we were going to have a drone that's going to fly like this or like that, those rear facing sensors made zero sense to me. And I think we touched pretty well on that on the last live, that there would be your field of view with the props, the body, would be pretty limited, and it just doesn't make much sense to have sensors up there. But when you look at it like that, those sensors right there with that quad stance, the sensors are almost at a vertical, a nice straight vertical.
Horizontal?
Or vertical. Horizontal shooting vertical. Thank you. I'll do that all the time too. I'll do that talking at work. Well, you need to set that more horizontal or vertical. Have it backwards. Left, right. But yeah, when you look at that picture right there, those sensors totally make sense now. To where I think they'll be effective.
There was a couple. I think when I posted my short little video I did with the photos and everything, I had a couple comments, quite a few, saying they don't think that was those are sensors in the back. And you know, I'm like, okay, you know, it could, you know, possibly could be something else, but whatever. I mean, I think it's sensors. Someone said that it's screw holes. I'm like,
Yeah.
why would it be screw hole? Like,
Yeah,
that
we
big of
know
a screw hole?
DJI likes to have huge screw holes on their mini drones. Like,
Yeah.
let's
And I'm
put
trying
a
to,
big bolt in that hole for weight.
and they further explain, like, you know, if there are sensors, all it'll see is the body of the drone. It won't see the obstacle. The body of the drone will get in the way and everything. I'm like, well, I tried to explain to him what I was thinking is that, you know, there is a standoff distance when you do have these sensors. You have a minimum or maximum distance that it detects, and uh, and based off, you know, you can angle these sensors any way you want, and you can configure the beam or whatever you want to call it
Field of
any way you
view.
want. Yeah, field of view any way you want. So if you configure it the right way, it'll actually come out like a cone or something like that, and actually start detecting whatever past the ass of the of the drone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was trying to explain that to him, but you know, I didn't want to do all that into in a comment. You know, I just told him, I'm like, you know, my thinking was, um, you ever heard of vision cones? Like, have you ever studied like the eyeball or everything? It has
Oh yeah.
like vision cones. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It's pretty much field of view and all that. So I was thinking of vision cones, and you can configure that vision cone any way you want to start detecting the obstacle whenever you know at a certain point. So
Yeah. But
that's what I was trying to explain to him.
if it were like this and they had those sensors like that, I would still find it hard for them to make that kind of adjustment for that kind of beam. Plus, of course, the props and all that. I would think that would definitely, you know, when we get glare and stuff off our props, you find those in your camera images. Why wouldn't they affect sensors on there as well?
So, do you have the Nano Plus with you? Right in front of you.
Of course I do.
Back, yeah, extend those back legs and see where the props go. And see where the props are in relation to the sensors. Are they far out or?
No, I mean they're the back legs. They've almost got them dead cat.
Okay.
They're not.
They're kind of angled enough where.
Yeah, they're
okay.
they're out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but
I was thinking, like, when you're talking about, you know how you have cameras that have minimum focusing distance on the camera, on the camera script.
Yeah.
If it has a minimum distance of a sensor, you know, sensitivity, that would make a lot of sense. They can just extend that just beyond the prop, and I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, with like when you look at other DJI drones, they have a pretty long field of view there for those sensors. So I would hope they wouldn't limit them any just to make them work, because sometimes it's just too late. You know what I mean? I'm not a person that wants sensors, really. I really don't really care about sensors. If you're going to give me sensors, your rear-facing sensors or something that I would like, and that would be that. It's down here that I don't care about. I don't care about any sensors down below. I would prefer to subtract these and have sensors on the sides, because the only thing I would use sensors for are features where you're going and doing something like an orbit type shot or something that you're not doing manually, and you can't see that in the camera when there's a tree or something there that could possibly. You see so many times people doing those shots. How'd you crash your drone? And they're doing that shot, and it's smack into something because the sensors don't pick that up. That's where I would prefer to see a sensor versus the bottoms. But if I really cared about sensors, I do really like this the battery is most likely why they went with this type of concept, which when we get to the pictures of the batteries, I'll move on now, but when we get to the picture of the batteries insert, that pretty much will explain why sensors are up front, and probably keeping all the electronics more into a compact area to keep that weight down as well. Mm-hmm. But next picture is, and all these, these are all the latest ones everybody's seen, but I put this one up. It's a crappy picture, but it's a great picture just to show no leg support whatsoever. All your support is down strictly on the belly of the quad. I've seen a few comments in the pictures I posted on my community tabs, a few posts that I put in there of the pictures where people are wondering about how, or at least I take by their comments, they're wondering about how it's going to balance itself when you land it and so forth. In certain situations, I mean, of course, if you're not landing on a flat landing apron or landing pad, if you land and you have some, like if I let my quads land on the ground where I fly the most, like at the reservoir, I'm going to be in trouble with this because it's going to tilt, and of course those blades are going to hit because there's pieces of rocks and stuff like this. But this might be a perfect reason for you people to learn how to catch that drone by hand.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited about that right there. That the fact that it does not have legs, feet. Landing gear on its legs or arms, and I'm also happy to see the full Words Mini 3 Pro. So far we've only caught a glimpse of that P. Now you can see the whole word, because I have to say, and I think a lot of people who were looking at these images felt the same way. It was hard to believe what we were seeing was going to be this size. Yeah. Something close to this size. It looked very robust. Until we finally saw the one picture where they have it with an iPhone sitting underneath it, which I've got in the slides as well. That's where you finally get to see something that you can scale it towards. And I was constantly just checking things, like I was looking at the size of the screws and on the motors, and then trying to judge the scale of the props on this versus that, because those props look larger. I was scaling the hell out of it, and then the next day they come out with these pictures, and all I needed was to see this little cell phone with it so I could figure out what it was as far as size.
I think that was the iPhone SE specifically, because it only had the one camera lens on it.
Yeah.
Is that the smaller one, I guess? The basic one?
It's basic, but it's not the smallest.
It's not a whole lot smaller than the Max.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's minor small, if I recall. But moving on, and I'm definitely eyes off chat. If something jumps in that you guys want me to pop up, let me know. But going back on this one, of course, you just see the bottom sensors, and then, of course, the ultrasonic sensors. But one other thing I'm noticing, keep an eye throughout all of these pictures. Look at that upper right to the gimbal.
Same crack.
That same wide crack, just like the one that was crashed. That was supposedly found by a pedestrian and taken to a store owner who took those pictures that we all saw. But not only that crack, just watch the rest of the pictures. When we look at the back of it, where the batteries are, it just looks like the seams are kind of sloppy. So, I mean, of course, prototype was what we're looking at. We don't know if all the screws are in it, if they're messing with things and what have it.
Is that gimbal fixed on this one?
Yeah, it is.
It is? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got it on both sides.
Okay.
So there's nothing else really that jumps out except you do see the forward landing gear right underneath the two sensors. Your gimbal dampers, from what I'm guessing, are in those two sides. So those two sides have some sort of, it's going to have to be some sort of totally new dampening system for them on this, unless they were able to take something kind of like the FPV. Yeah, it's going to be, the FPV's got it pretty much on one side. I've never taken the FPV apart. No. Okay, so what you have is, on the FPV, you actually have a gimbal damper you're not going to be able to see, but you have one on the side of the camera that's pushing forward and backwards. And then on the inside where the circle is something else going on. So it's going to be this. That's probably where they kind of picked up the technology for this gimbal, for the dampener system, would probably have come from this guy right here, who also flies at a hard angle, but not belly first.
So the rear landing gear is actually part of the battery, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably part of the battery, which would also come from this one here as well, because you have no landing gear in the back until you get the battery in. You have landing gear on the front legs, but you don't have it until you get the battery in. Little rubber tabs. But I think it appears to be that way. But looking here again, those props do seem like they are of a fairly good length. Now, it's hard to tell because it's going to be opposite on this guy. But yeah, there's really nothing you can reference on this one because they're coming up, because you have the different leg format. So it's hard to judge. To me, they look like they are going to be a little bit bigger. Next one. So there she is, all spread eagle, and looking so happy and proud. I'm here. And then you have the phone.
It's not as ugly as people say. It's just
when you have that forward view, it's something completely different. We're so used to seeing this for years. We've seen this Mavic style face. Yeah. It's a nice surprise actually to have it. I mean, don't knock the ugly chick. I mean, they usually perform very well. They aim to please. And stick around them long enough, and they just get prettier and prettier. So I mean, you look at this quad long enough, you're really, it's going to become eye candy for you. You're going to really like it. No, but if you look at it at this, I mean, it looks great. I really like the look of it. It's just that front is a little bit of a like, ooh, what are you looking at? Quit looking at me. It's huge, but it's technology, and I am glad we're seeing something that is not an Apple update from them, going from Mini to Mini 2. It was good, but this is a big leap. This is a big leap, because it's not only the sensors that are added, but the things that we're going to get to talk about when we get to the camera. But if you look at the front arms there, it's not like full dead cat, but it's like the reverse of what I showed with the Nano Plus. They're back just enough where I don't think are going to have to worry about props whatsoever, because like you said when we were chatting a couple days back, Don, the three of us were in a chat, how far that camera sticks out. So I don't think there's going to be any issues with props. I don't know if you can even try to get those props in view. But
there will be issues with, if any, with sensors you shouldn't be crashing, but I mean, if there's any crashes.
Oh, well, we're going to see some broken.
Yeah.
We're going to see some broken cameras, and we're going to see some broken arms, because any of those that only are Mavic. See, this is why it's good not to be a fanboy, but the way you're used to undoing your arms, you're going to go and try and do it on this one, and people are going to. I've got cracks. I don't know why is there cracks on my body, but they never tell you what they did. It's like the batteries that go on the top. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got cracked legs and stuff, and they don't have any idea how the cracks got there, and they say it's vibration of props and things like that. No, it's because you have it sitting on the ground and you're cramming that battery down in it, and you're pushing on the landing gear of the legs, and that's what cracks them.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you people are going to mess up those legs. But another thing that just popped in my head, with those front legs twisting like that, the good thing about forward legs that fold back is when you have that collision, and for those to give. Most of your collisions are going to be from the front versus the back, I would think. Mm-hmm. That right there, it's going to make it harder for if you do have a slight impact for that leg to go and do what it does, pushes back. So
this top view, I'm looking at the cooling areas back there on the back side of it,
mm-hmm.
and I definitely can see that benefiting the battery performance and not letting that overheat too much.
That in its stance of how, it's getting a lot of air. It looks like it's getting a lot of air. I wouldn't be surprised if we do not see any type of a cooling fan on this.
You think so?
Looking at that ventilation and the pictures we've seen from the bottom, mm-hmm. and especially the air that's going to come in at the gimbal, I don't know. With everything they've crammed into this thing, something's got to give, and I can't see adding a fan as well. I think the very first thing I want to do with this quad when I get it is take all the screws out and pop it open and see how just exactly what they did. I might just have to do that. But in this picture here, it also looks like you can see that would probably be the power button underneath the battery indicator lights. But looking at the rear here, you've got your side tabs for the battery to pull that battery out. But again, look at that left side seam. That's what I was talking about, how it looks like things are just not inserted properly or screwed together.
Mm-hmm. They probably took it apart. I think Maddie said something like that in the chat. They probably, taking it apart, putting it back together because it's a prototype.
Yeah, of course.
Stuff in there.
Of course. So my other question too is, what are we covering up with all the white tape? What is the purpose of the white tape? Is this something that they use in their flight tests that is a reflective type tape for them to be able to pick up better on camera, or does it? What kind of purpose does this tape have? They have it running down the sides, down the top, on the back of the legs. It's not covering up anything that's signature.
I thought the top. Remember?
Yeah, if you look at the original photos that came out, you see the either serial number on top or something. And
so they have that test model number all over it.
Yeah. And someone, I don't know who it was, someone on Twitter ran that number and actually got either the tester or whoever, when they registered it and where it was registered. So I think that's why they're covering it up now.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, closer up of the ass. But yeah, definitely. When I move my mouse, can you see my mouse?
No.
Okay, because I'm sitting here floating it around that seam. That's right, because I'm not sharing screen. I'm just sharing video. But that seam is definitely not what we should expect to probably see. I mean, it might stick out a little bit on that. If we looked at the other side, it might stick out a little bit like that on the other side as well. It just might be once the battery's snapped in, it might have that little bit of a lip over top of it. It's hard to tell. But of course, you've got what looks like to be a C-type, and then your micro USB.
You mean micro SD?
Or micro, yeah, micro
okay,
SD card.
You okay?
No, let me get it. Hold on, let me take care of this.
Oh, okay.
Dude, it's been a long 3 days at work. It's been a hard one on the mind, body, everything. Very physical, and this old guy doesn't like 13-hour days anymore, and I had one of those. But yeah, so we're not really revealing a whole lot more than that. We can move on, and I don't want to drag this out way long. We're actually going through these a lot slower than I thought we would.
What do you think about
nothing
the
really
on the legs?
What's that?
What do you think about the LEDs on the legs just be on the front?
Well, do we see that they don't have them at all on the back?
In all the
Yeah, I don't
pictures,
see 'em.
Maddie mentioned it. I can't see where LEDs are on the rear feet at all.
Yeah, that's something I really haven't paid attention to. I did notice them on the front because obviously the feet weren't there. But I mean, if you go with the regular Mini, we don't have them. The Mini 2, we don't have them at all. So we just have them on the front of this. So that. But again, they've added something else. They've added lights where they really didn't have to. Unless, with changes with FAA, you have to have the lights. But
I mean, especially if they're bright, enough, I mean, it definitely will help. I like to fly at night a lot, so I mean, I do have my anti-collision light on there, but it's on top, so you can't really see it when you're underneath it. But you can see those LEDs. Definitely.
Yeah.
And if they're as bright as the Air 2S, I don't know if they will be because they are small, but if they are as bright as the Air 2S LED lights, you can see that thing for like 2,000 feet away at night. So, yeah, those are definitely helpful.
I'm listening. I just wanted to switch. I hate when the tablet or anything you're on doesn't automatically do live chat.
Is it too early to talk about weight, or do you want to do that later?
Let's just get through the pictures, I think, and then we'll bring us all back. And
I'm trying to see.
So this one here, being so up close, is definitely one I wanted to put in just to show you the camera. But the next one after, I bring it in even closer. Mainly here, the only thing to look at is, the big old frog eye sensors. But when we get to this next one, I lightened it up a little bit just because now that definitely shows you your vertical. The vertical camera, which I never really gave much thought at, like, how are they going to do this? Is it just going to be something that happens within the lens or what? But then when the pictures of this came out, I think it was Chad that first noticed it, saying, guys, there's your vertical. And oh yeah, that is. So one big thing you see, and I would say, I'm not knocking anybody because I'm almost up there with you, but I would say more so with the elder crowd, why the hell do you have to have a vertical camera? Why would you want a vertical camera? And I saw somebody named Don comment in a group, and I think he explained it extremely well and professional. So Don, why the frick would I want to have a vertical camera?
Well,
Oops.
No, it's not just. I got some.
Go ahead.
because it's not just TikTok, guys. I mean, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, it's all a form of monetization. So if you are a creator, and Chad's done shorts before, I don't know if Chris has done any shorts before, but when you're doing shorts, it needs to be vertical. And standard YouTube creators who always film in horizontal format are starting to do the shorts. And I tell you what, if you're somebody that focuses on a lot of drone work for your channel, and you can throw those shorts up there and it's already formatted correctly in the vertical format for your shorts, and then you can copy and paste it into Instagram Reels, and then yes, if you have a TikTok, you can put it there. It makes the process a lot easier, so you don't have to edit and crop in and do all the reformatting. It's useful, and if you don't like TikTok, fine, but there's other platforms that will still use it. So I don't see why we would knock a new feature. You don't have to do vertical. You never need to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Just keep it in horizontal. But the people
just like you don't need to use sensors if you want. You can turn them off.
So I welcome the feature. I will put up some shorts and some Instagram Reels, especially fall foliage around here on the mountain and all those things. I've already posted shorts from my drone onto Instagram and onto YouTube, and now I can do it much easier with this new camera.
Akarasho, says, "Excuse me while I rotate my 55 TV 90 degrees." But I think that I don't know. I think he's got a good sense of humor and jokes a lot. So I think he's just totally, maybe speaking like he's one of the people that think that's what's happening here. We're actually going to have turned pictures that you're going to have to. Like, I don't think they understand the whole concept whatsoever, and that they might be thinking exactly how he commented. I got to rotate my screen now when I watch YouTube.
Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much.
It's going to be like the three of us right here. It's going to be that platform. When you look at the three of us, you take just one of us and knock the other two out. If me and Chad were out and it's just Don there in the middle, then that's your vertical format right there. Yeah,
it'll be mostly short form content. I mean,
like it's the same as this. It's the same as this when you shoot a video like this and post it versus you shoot a video like this and post it. It does the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, get our big ugly faces off of here. Damn, Don, you're really up on that camera.
APS-C mode. I'll go back. There we go. Is that better?
All right. So I was just kidding.
What is that?
Back up here.
What camera are you using? The Sony A7 III?
A7C, the full frame.
A7C. Yeah. I was about to buy that.
Why aren't we on there with? Sorry, I'm messing us up.
I got the A6600 instead.
Yeah, I mean, the 6600 is still a very good camera. That was what I almost got, but I figured if I'm upgrading from iPhone, I might as well go full frame if I'm going to invest.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't know. I bought this used, but, I could have got the A7C for maybe a couple $100 more, but I didn't want to spend it. So.
Yeah.
All right, we're not talking about your cameras.
I'm sorry.
All right, so there's the vertical. My only concern with this camera this gimbal is all that it is doing. I feel like crooked horizons are in our future with this quad.
No. Well, I don't think so, because the only way that this would have a crooked horizon is if that motor in the back that turns it vertical is, because I'm thinking when it does turn vertical, it locks, because there's no in between, either vertical or horizontal. And then if you see the gimbal arms on the side,
that's also a homing point for a servo, though. So servo motors, you can tell it its home is here, and you can tell it its other job's home is over here. So it could still be exactly this. I'm going to disagree on that. The fact that it locks. I'm just because I work with servo motors, and you do program them to do whatever you want. Servo motors are great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using them on big production equipment, so they're like, they're big servos like this. But you'll tell that wherever its home point is, and it's always going to go to that home point. Well, that's how gimbals work currently. Their servos go to a home point. These are basically like servo motors in that aspect. Yet we still get the crooked horizon, and I think that's a communication between, in some quads where you have your gimbal, your own built-in gimbal barometer, and then the quad's barometer. The two of those not communicating properly, not jiving. That's where I think we get our gimbal tilt issues from. Some don't have it, and then they just relay, I guess, on the data between camera firmware and the flight control firmware to tell you, the drone is level. It's level, but sometimes when it's level, that barometer actually is thinking the drone is like this, so it turns the camera accordingly to make it think that is level, when indeed it is not. That's why I think so many people have a problem with horizon. It's just because I think that's a hard concept, I think, in technology. And when we get down into this mini quad, doing all that it's doing, that's where I just say I'm concerned about having another horizon issue in our future with this one. But we'll see if it locks like you say, or if it's just a matter of saying, hey, this is my home point. And then the way to tell is if you just give it a little nudge, or if it's actually hard.
So that third motor in the back is going to act as a roll gimbal, the roll axis, and actual.
That's what
axis.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. See.
You couldn't have two separate ones.
Yeah, you can't. See, that's why I was thinking that.
It's just like you put a quad into FPV mode. It tells it, okay, you're staying right there, and then when the quad turns, you're not moving. So it's able to have that function, and then you take it out of that, and then you want it to be a stabilized gimbal again, and it stays fixed while the quad's doing this. Those are two functions that gimbal, single gimbal motor, servo motor is doing, just like this would be doing here. It's just you're telling it to do something different. And that's my thought.
While it's in vertical mode, it'll serve the same purpose. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe I guess they have to.
It'll serve the same purpose. It'll just be at that home point that it's programmed to be at.
Vertical. All right.
That's my guess. Yeah. I can't see them having two separate, and I can't see it being anything that locks, because these type of motors just don't lock.
Yeah.
So.
True.
So we'll see on that.
Like I said before, they could have some type of digital stabilization in there. You never know.
Yep.
This is true. But I'm going to say it rotate. I mean, well, it's got to rotate. It has to rotate. So.
Right.
And then there's no real good light into any hint of dampeners. So we'll move away from that and go into the next one. And there she is. That's one of the better pictures, where it just shows her all in her glory there. And that's where it does look funny. I mean, the bottom, the way the gimbal is housed, and then the big eyes on the top pointing upwards a little bit. I mean, that's where it looks funny. But it's something that's going to quickly grow on you, I think. If anybody's like, ugh, I just really don't like the way it looks, I think once you see its function, and if it performs, which I hope the way we all hope it performs, you'll quickly be happy with the design of this quad.
Yeah, there's been questions about landing lights, and I know we already looked at the bottom, but do you guys remember?
I didn't see any questions on that in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't recall seeing anything. We'll see if we come up with any more belly shots. There, I think it ends with a belly shot, so we'll look closer at that. But again, that would be adding more weight, and how the hell did they do it? I mean, we see we don't have the landing gear there, the longer protruding landing gear, so that takes weight out. But when you look at this thing, even with the proper scale, I mean, it just looks like it's so much chunkier. Like it's beefy, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those front forward facing sensors are they're like the size of some of the quadcopter's camera lens.
Yep.
All right. So nothing really new to see there, and there it is, direct front, just showing a little brighter. That camera is always so dark in all the pictures.
Yeah, and I've seen some comments online looking at how low that gimbal, the bottom of the gimbal, sits compared to the landing. Oh man, that's I don't know why some people are so hesitant to hand launch and catch. Because if you're throwing dust up in that sucker because you're landing in like gravel, or just even a dirty deck will have dirt on it.
Yeah,
wash up.
Well, you Nano Plus owners and you Light Plus owners, you put that quad on a table and power it up. You'll hear that click click. Those cameras hit my desk. Whenever I power them up on my desk, they hit the desk. I mean, you'll literally hear it go clunk, clunk. So I never start those quads when I'm out. I never start them on the ground. Some I'll set on, if I have a nice level area, I'll power them up on the ground while I'm doing my thing. But those, I always hold them up, let it get into its full calibration mode. Then I set it down on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm too lazy to bring my own landing pad with me. That's why.
I don't take landing pads with me. I always, if I don't have a sidewalk or concrete to land it on, I'm gonna put it into my hand. But a majority of the time, I'm gonna put it into my hand anyhow. So
what are the benefits of having those angled props?
Yeah, that's an aggressive stance.
Well, as far as
that's putting it at its pitch, Chad.
No,
that's what's putting it at this angle when it flies.
Well, not that angle. I'm talking about the slanted angle. If you look
as
at it
far as the pitch of the prop itself,
the pitch of the prop itself.
It's kind of I don't know that I've really.
Because they're not the front and the rear are not the same on like my Air 2. They're parallel or even on the even plane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing with this Mini, the Mini 2. Same thing, is everything is pretty much flat on an even plane. And as far as the props are just.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Look at the front. Look at the front. Look at the first. Actually, one of the first photos that you put up. If you go back.
The pitch of the props.
Yeah, just keep.
Well, the pitch, yeah. But
because right there, you can see the front props are sitting parallel to the ground, and the rear props are canted forward a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go to the next photo, Chris. Well, the one after that. Sorry, the one with the close-up.
Make up your damn mind, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that one. So you see how it slopes down to the right or to the left, whatever. Now, what is the advantages of having?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I did not really pay attention. I knew they had their pitch, front to back pitch, but that side type of pitch, I didn't really ever pay attention to that to even think about it.
I think that's how the Mavic 3 is also designed too.
The way its legs go down at such an arc.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go back to. Okay, so that's where we were, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we can move on from that. But yeah, I see what you're saying now. It's not just that it pitches forward, but it also, in this picture, pitches towards us. Like
Mm-hmm.
that side drops down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're all out like that with that type of. It might be a complete stability. That might be something that really helps stability. It could be something that also helps it in the wind,
Mm-hmm.
knocking it around in the wind.
Yeah.
A lot of little things like this right here, you pick up later, or somebody else, like us three talking. One of us might have seen it, the other two don't see it. These are the things that fascinate me because there's a lot of change just within the squad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have made a lot of change. And then, of course, that's the full downward. I only popped that one in there. We've already looked at it, but this just shows a gimbal cover on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a pretty large gimbal cover on it for when we drop it in our nice little DJI purse after spending $1,000, the purse that we get with this quad.
Speaking of price.
And yeah, we gotta get into that and confirm all that kind of stuff too. And then there's just the bottom view of it, but no lights that I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't ever recall seeing any lights, so any landing lights. I do like landing lights, but that would definitely be. What's that?
Does the Mini 2 have landing lights?
No.
No.
Now, I have them on the Evo and Evo 2. You'll have them on the Mavic 3, Mavic 2. The Air 2 doesn't have it, right? Air 2S doesn't have it. No.
Yeah, Air 2S has a nice spotlight on there.
Yeah, the Air 2.
I never used it.
Yeah.
I never flew it at night.
Yeah.
I never flew it at night.
Anytime you want, but.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never used a landing light on that one. But yeah, those are nice. I know on the Evo 2 and the Light Plus, it's bright. It's nice and bright, real wide beam. So, but that's that. So I'm going to remove that, and I definitely want to get in with everybody, you guys, all you guys in the chat, because I know we've been sitting there talking and looking at pictures and everything, and not really looking at you. So if you're frustrated and that didn't pick up on anything you said, hold tight, because that's what the whole end of this is going to be, just interacting with you guys and popping your questions and comments up on the screen. But I'm going to leave it to the both of you now.
Hold on.
And
just give me a second. Sorry.
Oh, Chad.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to leave it to both of you, whoever is present. Just let's go ahead and just go over the pricing, the confusion of one model versus two models. That seems to be summed up now, if that is true, what I read earlier. And again, I'm sorry for not having that available to pop it up, but it did say, along with the delivery date, at the latest of the 28th, possibly a couple days sooner than that would be delivery. They did say that originally was planned to have two models. Now it's a Pro model only. So where does that put us in the pricing, Don, as far as anything you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, everything from the Twitter leaks with Jasper and all those guys, originally with the two versions, you had the Mini 3 starting at $549, but if we're only thinking Mini 3 Pro for the standard kit, it's starting at $699, thereabouts.
That's what I heard.
Of course, these are leaks, so it is what it is. Like, it could be a little more or less, but then, so you got the Mini 3 Pro base is $699, the Mini 3 Pro Fly More combo with your extra batteries and accessories in $949. But then here they have the price listed with Jasper showing, the Mini 3 Pro with the DJI RC remote with the bigger screen and everything's self-contained on that remote, and that would be at $1249. And these are US dollars for our international friends. I think a lot of us have seen elite prices on Twitter and have been shared in different currencies. But I mean, I'll just say right off the bat, as somebody who's flying an Air 2 and uses my drone not as a primary part of what I do on YouTube, but I do use it to show my property and my house and whatnot, and I want to travel with it. I'm super excited about this, and the prices don't scare me at all. I'm happy to pay. And if there's a version without the RC Pro, I'll probably get that because I'm so used to flying with my phone, and I just can't get my brain to think past the screen being right underneath the meat of my thumbs. I know some people fly with it and they don't have any issues. I'm not saying I have bigger hands than you, but I don't know that I would like that. So that is my thoughts on the matter.
Anybody I've asked that has that controller, now granted, people pay a lot of money for these smart controllers, so they're not really forthcoming in admitting that they don't like it. But anybody that I've asked so far, I have not heard anything negative.
Okay.
My concerns, I didn't like it. I don't like it at the bottom. I've never had a smart controller. I always went for something that would be a tablet, or like now the Triple Tech, where I can use it for all drones, get the most possible use out of it all that I can, versus having a controller that only works one of your drones or two of your drones, or that display. My concern was just, of course, controls at top. I've got the longer thumbs. My hands are going to be down low for sure. If you're shorter thumbed, you probably have a better benefit, just like the controller for the Nano and the Lite. Shorter thumbs, you have more of that grip. In my case, my hands come off that grip, which I don't like about that controller. But nobody has said anything bad. Like, they all love that type of controller, so I'm not really concerned with it. But here's my thing. Like you said, with the prices showing, he's still showing, outlining the fact that we're having that Pro RC. We've seen all these leaks. They're being very forthcoming now with all these photographs. We have not seen one hint of any other type of controller. All we have seen is that RC. And I mean, at that price of $600, I can't see that coming with it at all.
No,
but what kind are we going to get if you don't get that package? Where's that leak?
Yeah.
Maybe they have something really disappointing they don't want to show us. They partnered with Hubson, and they're giving you this. This is what you're getting, guys. Here's your controller.
I would take it, honestly, because I'm going to treat it as a travel drone. So the smaller my kit is, the better, in my opinion. So. Yeah,
when your controller is twice the size of the quad, I mean, that's that the whole thing of people saying I bought this for travel only. That's why I didn't buy the Air 2S, but yet they have that big RC. That doesn't make any sense. You have two things that are the exact same size when you put them together and add them up. So yeah, I mean, that's a good point right there for portability.
I mean, with the price at $950 for the Fly More, but without the RC, apparently, we're talking the Fly More combo for the Air 2 that I paid, same pricing. So if the camera specs that are leaked are going to match what we get out of the Air 2 and like getting close to like the Nano Plus and all that kind of stuff, I don't care about the size. I mean, I'm buying it because it's small. But a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just get the Air 2S or whatever? I'm just like, well, if you don't need a small drone, then yeah, don't buy the small drone. Of course not. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I think there's a lot of people internationally, of course, with regulations. And then there's a lot of people that have Part 107 that want to try to fit into the Category 1 rules and regulations that a small drone with the best possible camera, that is singing my tune right there. I'll pay.
Mm-hmm. Well, if there is another RC, I'd like to see it. You know what I mean? We're getting close.
For sure.
We're getting really close. I'd like to see that see that other RC. If this is the only RC you get, then pricing is definitely off. The pricing that we're getting.
Yeah, that's extra information. Means the information is bad.
Yeah. So, specs. We've confirmed the fact that it has the vertical camera. The one thing that was talked about early on with this quad, which people might have gotten confused with the word vertical camera, people thinking about the 90-degree angle of the, say, Paradenofi type camera. And then seeing the way they did this gimbal housing lets you to believe that camera is going to be able to point up. Is that going to still be a thing with that stance that this quad has, with the way that where the prop position is? Are we still going to have that 90-degree or close to 90-degree angle?
I think. Did you see the newest photos that came out of the closer shot?
Nothing with the camera pointing up.
Well, not pointing up, but some of the Twitter photos that came up shows a closer shot of the whole gimbal well, and with those gimbal arms on the side that rotates pretty much the whole camera.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way it will rotate, I think you can get a full 90-degree because that well is kind of deep.
It is.
Yeah, so.
Between the stance of the quad and then the camera, you're able to get that 90-degree.
Because it will have to rotate backwards to come up, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can locate some of those photos.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that earlier, Chad. Gee, thanks a lot. I could have put those pictures in with the slide.
I didn't know. I thought you saw them.
Dude, I literally came home and after battling that snow, you know what you got to do. You got to make a thumbnail. Yeah. You got to set up the whole YouTube thing. You got to share it. And you got to put together a little slideshow of pictures and stuff like that. So, no, I didn't have a chance to look at frickin' Twitter.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, most of us have it on our phone, and we can just look at it on
phone. Again, I'm doing these other things. Where's that remove Chad button?
So,
there it is.
I have a question for the guys in the chat. When we first heard about the pricing, there was so many dropped jaws. I cannot believe the price is that. I would never pay that much. I mean, have things cooled off? Guys in the chat, if you were thinking about it, if you were like, hey, I wonder when the Mini 3 is coming out, and now that you've seen the pricing, it seems to be somewhat consistent over the last 2 weeks of leaks. Are you on board with it, or are you still thinking it's too pricey? I'm curious what the people in the house say.
And while you're waiting on that, I'm just wondering what more we can give you, Dave. Oops, I turned it off. Come on, guys. Getting sleepy here. What more can we give you, Dave? Let me know. Let me know what you're looking for.
I will not do any performances. They haven't paid me enough.
Then go to bed. Then go to sleep. Is there something you would like covered? Just pop it in the chat. Sorry if we're putting you to sleep here. Well, I'm sorry, Don. I was reading all that to see if there's any drama happening. What your question to them? Just real quick to me, catch me up.
Pricing, just if anybody is scared away about the pricing anymore, and it definitely seems, I check all the Twitter threads a few times a day. I check all the groups, and that first 48 to 72 hours after the pricing was first leaked, people were going nuts. But I have seen less of that. So definitely
a conversation that Chad and I had. Talking about pricing, you had the Nano, you had the Autel Lite, both high priced. You had the Mavic 3, high priced. When we get this, it's going to be, I don't think it's overly priced from what, if you're talking with a Pro RC, in comparison to what you're getting, say, with the Nano. You buy that whole package over $1,000 and you're not getting a Pro RC. So the one thing that I mentioned to Chad was, well, what are we going to see what are people's reactions going to be when we see whatever the next Air 3 or whatever they call that? What are you going to see pricing there? It's all going to fall in line the same way. It's going to be that leap. And I think this is, I mean, look at all the extra, look at all the reasons why these prices are raised like they are. It's the tariffs, it's all these fees that they're hit with, they have to pass them on to us, and that's what's happening here. Not to mention the fact that China's pretty much been shut down for going on, what, a month now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if they launch this, that means they've got a lot already ready to go in the hands or in the back rooms of the retailers. There are large cities, and I follow like iPhone.
Bless you.
And there's bigger cities outside of Apple phone factories that are completely shut down, ghost towns. Nobody's on the streets or anything. So, yeah, there's a lot of speculation on what's going to be delayed with these new shutdowns for sure.
Wow.
The only reason he got the Air 2, I'm assuming that means Air 2 over the Mini 2, was the ability to return back in higher winds. I think this is going to have a better camera and be just capable in high winds.
Totally.
Yeah, and especially if they paid any attention whatsoever to Autel's mess. In the Mini 2, it's not a high wind quad, but it can handle the winds and its sport mode works. That's the biggest thing with me. Just give me the mode to get me back. I'm not going to be out shooting cinematic shots in sport mode or anything like that. So so having that return speed.
Yeah, and just going back to what you were just saying about the winds. I mean, the Mini 2, it's not it handles itself in the wind. I was just in Puerto Rico just last week, and I went out to
Don, I'm popping up some of your answers. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, I went out to this lighthouse that actually is on a cliff. And when we went up there, it was like so windy. And I wanted to fly the Mini 2 badly because I wanted to go, over the cliff and, see the cliff line and all that stuff. But, I was a little hesitant, but I actually did it anyway. And I looked at my UAV forecast. It was like 40 mile per hour gusts and everything.
Send it.
Yeah, I sent it. And, I was a little hesitant to go a little bit. I didn't want to go too far out over the cliff, but I actually, went out far enough where I was comfortable and actually got some good, photos of the lighthouse. And then there's a beach underneath it or down on the side of it that I got some video of and everything. So that thing handles itself, man. Now, if that was the Nano,
goodbye.
That thing would have been gone. Definitely. Because it was constant. It said 40 mile per hour wind gust, but it was a constant wind. I mean, it was just kept blowing. So,
yeah.
You would have gotten nowhere with the Nano.
I would have gotten nowhere with the Nano. So,
answering Dave's question here, in the coming Mini 3, do you think its huge side covers of that gimbal will affect its aerodynamics of the drone? Will it make it better in flight, or will it make it better in flight with or without? That's something you really, I can't see any of us being able to answer. Just for my opinion, I'll give first, is this is kind of the first one where we've had like that. I don't know any other drones that I've got that I'm flying like this. They're usually like this, or if you get into FPV, they're flying like this. So this is a whole new baby as far as it flying like that. Now you would think, okay, the wind coming, it's got more of a force hitting that belly of it. It's gonna cup it more if it had this style gimbal. So having those sides allowed to have more open top to where that air can pass.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a little bit of a benefit of having those side pieces, aside from their functionality of what their job is for this type of quad. But here's my question: is what Dave said as far as how it handles in the wind. I'm concerned, not really concerned, but just curious what this is going to do with gusts that come at its face pretty hard, if it's going to give it that jerk back. And so, and you know, where I fly, I have the ability to do a lot of wind tests. So, and this will definitely be in wind tests right next to the Nano Plus. I mean, I cannot wait for the day. I have no more interest really in this. I'm talking this thing down a lot. I love its camera. This camera is made for every person just like me that doesn't want to really do anything with the camera. You can just send it and you'll get a beautiful over blue sky video, but it gives incredible image. But it has to be able to fly to go get that image. And 12 mile per hour can just put this thing and hit the brakes. And I'm going to put that baby, that's the only interest that's come back to life with this quad, is I'm going to put this baby right next to the Mini 3. And the exact wind speed, show those recorded screens and show that one drop down to 3 meters a second, and then watch that Mini 3 go, hopefully. Except I gotta stop doing this whenever I talk with my hands. Now I gotta say fly like this.
Yeah.
So there's the answer to your question. The best that can be done, Dave, is it's gonna be something we all know once we have it. I wanted to see if anybody else was answering on what Don was touching. We can agree Mini 3 will be a reasonable price, but what does that mean with the Nano Plus? Will they have sales? Again, forgotten quad, forgotten drone right here. It's had too much drama. It's had too much crap in the very beginning. I guarantee you, unless you live in an area where no fly zones is just killing you, and you don't want to deal with trying to get permission or any of that, and you want to just get out there and get something in the air, that's the only thing. It's the only real reason to make you jump into the Autel Nano versus any DJI. But I think that you guys agree Nano prices are just going to really, I mean, they're not great already. They're going to plummet.
Yeah.
I think they're not making it, honestly.
What's that?
I don't think they're going to make as many. I think they're going to trickle down on the on the production.
Oh, totally. I mean, if you were a first-time buyer, and you come along and you want to fork out the money for this, and you saw all the drama in the beginning of, nope, there's no sport mode, but we're going to give you a sport mode. Oh, no, we can't give you sport mode. Oh, wait a minute. We decided we're going to give you sport mode. They went back and forth on that so many times. And then the way they got all sneaky with the manual and just made that change of 13 meters a second. Those are things you publish. Those are things you put in your advertising where people don't have to scroll way down to the fine print to see, oh, look, it's different now. It took a viewer to point that out real quick to me that, hey, check the manual. And I had the manual downloaded, and then I went and downloaded the other one, and sure enough, changed. Those kind of sneaky things right there are what turn you away. So any new drone buyer, those are the things you're going to run away from. And then you got a company like DJI who they do their releases pretty much the exact same way. Not almost, how many months was it? 8 months? Prior that this thing Nano was coming out, and we had pictures of it, but it
still doesn't have all its features, does it?
No, so
still doesn't have the dynamic track, does it?
No. So,
Fail.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Dale's got a good question about basically kind of like talking about what this will do to the product line for DJI, especially with the mini quads. what's being phased out and what's going to be kept around, that kind of stuff. You know,
I'm up a little bit, so I don't see his. Del Briggs.
Yeah.
Well, when I get down to it, I'll pop it up. Here's one for you.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
We can agree. I think I already know. Yeah, I put that up. All right, now I'm back on track. Here in Canada, I fly the Nano Plus and winds up to level 4. Sub 250 has a lot more freedom in Canada for level 5 and beyond. Yeah, but how are you doing in that? If you're flying in a level 4, how's your drone handling? How's that Nano? I know how it handles. So anybody that tells me different, nobody's got something different than I have. I had 2 of them, and that quad's just not performing what this one performs at in level 4. Not trying to be controversial with you, but it's the one thing I get so many comments. People love to say, mine's perfect in the wind. It flies perfect in the wind. I fly it in this kind of category or that kind of category. I don't know what your problem is. No, I know enough people. I'm not a huge channel, but you know enough YouTubers that have this, and you talk to them, Chad being one of them. It sucked. It completely sucked in the wind. You had to have that sport mode just to save your bacon.
You see our friends here?
Yeah, I know who it is now.
You did?
He fessed up after the last one. I'm not going to reveal him, but I was completely shocked. Like when he messaged me after the last live, and when he said he was J Turd. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You're the last person I thought it would be. But a lot of people do say this right here, having that camera on the DJI Mini 3. I think DJI is going to have a camera covered for us. I would hope so. I've not ever been really not pleased with a DJI camera. I think we'll be okay. Mm-hmm. I love the Nano camera. The only thing I don't like about the Nano camera is it makes it overdoes it as far as not, when I say overdo it, it's not exposure. What do I mean when I'm saying it overcolors? Like, it's not giving it false color. It's just taking what blue wasn't in the sky and it's giving it that blue. Like it always gives me blue skies when I don't have blue skies. Oversaturated. Yeah. So it's not a true image. You know, some people love those bright reds and bright blues and greens. I go and dummy it down a little bit because it's just not, that's not really what it looks like. I like it to look a little prettier, you know, like when you go buy your Big Mac at McDonald's, how perfect it looks, but when you get it, it looks like crap. Well, I like to crap it up a little bit and make it look real. So I always adjust my image to take some color out on stuff that I do. I don't like it too overdone. Here's a good one for you guys. Would the RC controller work for the Mini 2? So here's one thing that hasn't been talked about is the OcuSync version and what it would work with. Mm-hmm. So we're OcuSync 3 on this, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what all does that work with? If this will work with them.
Air 2S.
It's the same color as Air 2, Air 2S.
No, Air 2 has...
It would be Mini 2 and Air 2S.
Yeah.
But not Air 2.
Yeah. But not Air 2.
Yeah, yeah.
So that could bring some excitement to people that, you know, have...
And a Mavic 3.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I always forget about that just because I had zero interest in that whatsoever. I had zero interest in that price. The price tag of that threw me away. I mean, it's more quad than I really need. And the price tag was just, I could see myself going buying the two Alltels versus buying that. Now, am I regretting that now? I'm regretting one of them, but I did get refunded, so I can't bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And got a replacement and was able to do something good for somebody else on that. So, which I updated that on the last live we did, right?
I think so. I remember hearing about it.
Okay. And
what are you guys drinking?
Nothing.
brandy.
What are you drinking?
Brandy.
What
I
you
just got
drinking?
Irish whiskey in my half and half of my seltzer.
I'm having it's, if everybody, you guys all know me, it's homemade apple brandy from my buddy Kevin at work. He makes different brandies like peach, pear, and apple and blackberry.
Nice.
And fills me up when I'm empty.
Chad, are you
last time gave me a half gallon.
Did you get sick on the trip, Chad, or just allergies?
Oh yeah, I got a little cold or something. It was like at the end, pretty much the last day I was there. It could have been, I don't know what it was, but we had the air conditioner on and the fan, and I don't know. It could have been that. But
So what's going to happen with the Mini and Mini 2 both phase out? Or what's going to happen to the Mini and what's going to happen when they phase out maybe? Because the Mini's pretty much phased out.
Yeah, the Mini's gone.
The Mini's phased out. Mini 2 is going to be around for a little bit. I just did a poll. I did a poll on my community tab and asking if anybody is going to buy the Mini 3. And then I left a few options. If they were going to buy the Mini 3, wait for reviews, or yes or no, or wait for reviews. And majority of them put no, they're not going to buy. And then a lot of them also responded that they'll wait for the reviews. But
I'm seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. But I think the Mini 2 is going to be around for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of people everybody's getting wise to these reviewers that they're given to. They automatically know. I mean, it used to be that you put your trust in these reviewers, but now it's no new news whatsoever of how this all plays out and what's expected of you as a reviewer. It's so funny, there's some comments that say, I'm waiting for this specific viewer or subscribe or YouTube channel to review it. I'm waiting for you to review it. I want to see you do your wind test, things like that. Waiting to see Chad with the camera and what he's capable of producing, because Chad does such good videography, such good editing. So it's funny. All these people that it's handed to in the beginning, they give their input back. Half of them have no weight whatsoever as far as being an influencer to smart people, because you automatically know technically the word fanboy comes into play, or hungry. Because I've got 100,000 subscribers now, and I'm making a living at this, and now I've got this big company sending me a free drone to test for 2 weeks prior to release. So, Little Mountain Life. It is possible that Alltel would slash prices to recoup some of their R&D costs before restructuring their pricing structure. Don't know if that will be enough to save the nano bacon. So yeah, of course, it's very possible. I think we've seen them slash the prices of the Evo 2 by $400. I think was the farthest that's ever gone down. So I think it's a given that if anybody is definitely in the market for one of these, you're going to find the prices dropping on these. I'll tell you, when I'm done with it, when I'm done comparing this and doing whatever I want to do with the Mini 3, this is going real cheap, guys, because I've been refunded. I've got zero into this now. This with 3 batteries and controller, if you're a fair weather flyer, you just like to fly in your backyard and you want a kick-ass camera and sensors that don't work, you're going to get this at a good price, because I will sell it. Any quads I sell people, I always sell them at a buyer's price. So keep that in mind. Anybody, if you definitely want that Nano Plus, and I'm not going to sit there and tell you it's the best thing since sliced bread. It's everything I've said it was, and that's what you're going to get. But you're going to pay what I think it's worth, which is just above half, probably.
Yeah, I think the Mini SE will stick around for the really budget-friendly, drone for people just getting into the hobby and wanting to get the DJI name. But yeah, that Mini 2, I don't think there's any reason for them to kind of pull back on that too much, because the price difference is so, and the actual differences in the quad is so obvious with the sensors and not having sensors. So I don't think, they'll keep selling those to especially the entry level people. And it's already like the Mini SE. I know the people that we follow don't necessarily fly them, but I know like a lot of people. I have like a lot of YouTube friends that have much small, like sub 1,000 subscriber channels that are trying to push into making their channel bigger, but they want that drone, but they aren't ready to invest money because they're not making money yet. They'll get the Mini SE, and for close shots, that's not super far away, and they can still put out decent YouTube content with that. So it's still a pretty good budget drone. And if you buy a Mini SE, you're not in the market for a Mini 3 Pro. It's a different clientele altogether.
Agree. And I agree with this as well. It would be worth it a bit more. That increases the personal value to yourself when you have these kind of options. Just like me buying the Triple Tech. Everybody's like, it's too expensive. My only complaint about a Triple Tech is its weight. $700, $800 is pricey for a tablet, an 8-inch tablet. But what that does for me is what made it worth it for me. And trust me, it was something that sat in my cart for a long time before I made that purchase. This might be the same thing with this quad. For a lot of you, it'll just sit there in your cart or in the back of your mind, waiting to see, can I use it with this controller? Or can I take this, or not can I use it with this controller? Can I take its controller and use it with this? That's what the Triple Tech was for me. I could use it with every drone I have. That made it a value right there. The bright screen in the sun, that gave it its value right there. All those type of personal gains for me personally is what made it worth it. So what Eric says right here, that makes the price worth it for a lot of people right there too, is if they have this ability right here. The other thing too is look at everything they've gone and done. This right here, if this performs, if this new Mini 3 performs the way it should, look at how different it is from this. It's worlds apart from this now.
Yeah.
This isn't what they gave us in the past. We didn't get these worlds apart. 2 to 2S wasn't a huge deal.
No.
Mini to Mini 2 wasn't a huge deal. It was a big enough deal to where it made people a lot happier. Your range, your transmission type, handling the wind better. But all in all, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
This is big. So, having the vertical camera, that's important to some people. That puts it in a value for them. Having the camera, if it points up 90 degrees, that I like that of the Paradinafi. If nobody's ever had a Paradinafi, which a lot of people haven't, it's still a drone I recommend to people today. But I used to love to get up underneath the waterfall, and I literally had that thing to where water was just little droplets were coming down at the camera, and it's a really cool effect. If a lot of you guys I see on channels will shoot your water towers in your hometown, different type of things like that. Buildings, you can get that upward effect as you rise and create a completely different cinematic shot with that. So little things like that they've added to this, it's like, holy hell, they've added a lot to this. So far the prices that we're seeing, if they stick, I find it very well worth it. And then if I go and I'm buying this as going full Monty for the full all in on the biggest package, this will be a whole new ball game with me for a smart controller, because they've just never grabbed me before to where I had to have one. Mm-hmm. So, but that's a good point there. Or I agree with you on that. And then this is also good too. You're going to see probably see some price drops. I don't know that you'll see it always directly from DJI, but you'll see competitors drop their prices a little bit and get good sales on it. Speaking of sales, will we see this at Best Buy on the day of release?
Hope so.
I think so. Did you see? Was the Mavic 3 there? On release
Again, I didn't pay enough attention to it. We didn't see people running out the front door at Best Buy.
No.
Like, that's the next step we typically see after we've seen all these pictures like we just saw this week or this weekend. Now is when we start seeing next week, right? About next week, or no, actually, yeah, about next week we start seeing everybody, look what I got. And they're inside Best Buy or running out the front door. Mm-hmm. So...
go from 5 subscribers to 3,000 really quick.
Yes. And then never get another view after everybody else has it. Mm-hmm. But Jaybird's enjoying his Mini 3 very much. He's having a good time with it. He's had it for about 6 months now. Mm-hmm. Don't trust anything that says GameStop has it on sale. A drone for $399. Don't trust anything with GameStop at all. They've had enough controversy in the press in the past to where I wouldn't be buying a drone from them.
Are people still doing those like super long-term returns for Best Buy? Because I saw that happening with like the Air 2S and stuff. Like people were like returning a drone that they had for like 10 months.
Yes. Yeah, they were. Now, I think it was overdone, and since it was posted so much on social media, more and more people did it, and I think they've changed that program now.
Yeah, I think they changed it, yeah.
But they were doing it. How dare you, Mike? That's terrible. Wrong stream. Thought this was Xeno Nation. Who the hell here looks like that crew?
That's the second time he said it. He said it earlier too.
That's a bad word. That's a bad word here.
Your drone wall is getting really full back there. I don't know if you have room for a Mini 3.
Oh, something comes down. Something comes down.
How are you going to hang the Mini 3 anyway? I don't understand. I don't know how you do that.
Well, I can hang this.
Oh, yeah. Do you even fly that anymore?
I flew it once while we had a little piece of spring, but it's not been spring, and it's been too muddy and mushy outside. I need things to dry up a little bit because I will be going and retrieving it, and I don't want to be cleaning mud out of it. So... Mm-hmm. But no, I'll definitely be flying it for sure. I want to go towards doing a little bit of manual with it. It's not going to be something that I fully go manual with. I just want to dabble in manual mode a little bit with it. I'll just stick with the Nazgul for that stuff. But need to have the weather and time to go out and do all that. Plus, I've got 2 places that I'm sighting out that I can go fly FPV and really just kind of let it go. But Mike, I'm glad to see you're still here after thinking you're at the wrong live stream. and it's not a bad name here. Ron's not a bad name here. I'll just leave it at that. Everybody else knows the rest. It says pro blah blah blah. I'm just gonna go down because I don't want to go any much longer here, so everybody can go watch Drone Nation.
Can I talk?
This actually did look a little bit like Drone Nation because that's the only live stream that has show and tell constantly. There's always a drone in hand for somebody there. And I've done a lot of talking with my hands tonight, so I can see where it looks. And you look a little like DeMarco.
Who, Don?
Don, yeah. I like that. Who, Don? He had like no expression, like he didn't hear me say it. He goes, who, Don?
But what were you going to talk about, Don?
No, I just while he's scrolling through comments to find something, the three of us were talking, or I was talking about it in our little chat, and a lot of Part 107 guys have been excited about a better camera, small drone for Category 1 flying, but the issue that we still have with this drone, the latest leaked pictures that Jasper and others were sharing, was that with the scale it was measuring at 245 grams, which does give us like 4.5 or so grams of leeway. But that's definitely not enough for any kind of a prop guard. If you're going to do a Category 1 sustained flight over people under the Part 107 regs with the FAA in the United States, you've got to have something to protect from lacerations. And everything that I was looking at is 20 plus grams. So unfortunately, one of the things I've been looking forward to doing with the smaller quad, I always have a gig filming a big conference of thousands of people every October out here in Front Royal, Virginia. And I still will not be able to fly directly over those people with this drone, even if it has the remote ID and all that kind of stuff. If I'm trying to follow the rules, which for a big paid gig like that, I try to follow the rules, I would still not be able to fly over people because it would still be too heavy with those prop guards. So it's asking too much, I think, at this point with technology and trying to keep the weight down. Like we're talking then something under 230 grams to be able to fit on the prop guards and then expect it to have a really good camera with a decent size sensor. I guess it's just, I think we're probably 2-3 years away from having that full package unless the FAA can be more lenient.
When you're going into something like that for safety purposes, you got to you're in the right weight regulations or whatever with the quad, and then you have to add something like that for safety purposes, and it's really not any weight at all. I think it's ridiculous that it should be rejected, and
I agree with that.
I think it's complete BS. Just like adding a light on there at nighttime, a strobe on there at nighttime to be where you need to be with the FAA, and for them, like, I don't know, they're not at least right here. They're not lurking in my woods. They're not out here sitting in my woods. I can get away with it. You can get away with it. But when you get out to a paid gig and you're flying over top of people and all that, if something did happen, that's when you don't want to find out just how strict they are with that rule. But I think it's ridiculous if they are strict with that rule. Like, they really need to make it much more clear that, hey, if you have this drone, let's say the Mini 3, and it takes you up to 251 with prop guards on it when you're out doing a paid gig and you're a certified 107 pilot, that's acceptable. We will allow these items as long as you purchase, even if they went as far as saying, as long as you purchase this exact model prop guards. I'm sure everybody would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I would buy that right away.
So yeah, that's where I think there's just so many things with the FAA rules that just irk me and bug me, and that would be one of them right there. I think it's ridiculous because you want to do the right thing and you want to be responsible, and people are going to bend it. They're going to just say, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And they're going to find out the hard way over top of people or paid gig that where somebody might get hurt, and they're going to find out the hard way. So, Dave, we're going to wrap it up here, buddy. So thank you for sticking it out. It's late for me too.
All right, Dave.
Because I'm just beat. I've been working hard. I normally don't work that hard at my job, but I've been working hard. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a couple of these last questions. We're going to wrap it up because we're at 1 3/4 hour here. Hey Chris, you always say, there was also something that Wedgeworth said earlier that I forgot to go back to. He said something about being too heavy or something. So Chris, if you're still in here, I'm sorry I missed that and didn't get to it, but I just wasn't sure what he was talking about. Maybe he was talking about the prop guards. That's probably what it was. He was probably talking about adding prop guards or whatever makes it too heavy. You always say you're not biased, and we get that. You're honest, but please admit you're excited about the Mini 3 Pro. Guys, you guys have both talked to me enough. We've had a group chat now probably, over a year? Mm-hmm. We always talk about all these new products and everything. Well, I mean, I think I showed more excitement over the Autels than I did this, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Like I was giving you guys the things that you could possibly have go wrong with Autel, which actually turned out to be the case and worse. But I was very excited about it. And you guys saw the video that I didn't publish. I said I was extremely excited about this. I don't ever really get excited about any new DJIs at all because it's a DJI release. The Triple Tech. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I was wondering what he's talking about. It was too heavy. It is too heavy. That's where the lanyard comes in handy if you can work that into a controller. If every controller needs, that's another thing I need to say, is every controller needs to have that damn lanyard hook. Once you have a Triple Tech in this smart controller, did we see a lanyard hook? No, we saw the bottom screws. Mm-hmm. It's got the bottom screw lanyard hooks. I hate those because you can't let it sit there and rest on your stomach and still view it. It's going to lay down. So I don't like that kind. But I'm excited. More so now this week after we've seen all these pictures and things are definitely confirmed. I'm excited with the fact that they've made so much change to this. So much rumors that had come early on, and then these sketch drawings and stuff, you're like, I don't believe this is going to do this or it's going to have this. And then you learn, it does have the vertical camera. Whether I use that or not, I don't do shorts or anything. I don't use it. Maybe I will start doing shorts with it. But it's all those things that have finally got me excited about it. So now you can bet if I find something wrong with it, that's where I'm running first. I'm not running out to say how great this camera is. I'm going to point out whatever problems I might find, or in many cases, Chad points out to me first and says, "Hey, did you like when Chad was like one of the first people to have this Nano Plus, and he was the first person that said something about speed, and that's what he said to me. That something's not right here. This thing is too slow, and he was checking different things and trying different things, and he could not get any speed out of it. Almost lost it in his neighborhood, in fact, in the very beginning. So, I'll hear something from Don. I'll hear something from Chad if they have it, and then I'll dive into that. If that's a negative, it's not that I want to be negative. I just, quality control, QC, quality control, also stands for quadcopter. But when I started doing all this, it was all for stuff on just finding the problems and then giving you a fix, or making a big enough deal about it where people say, you're whining. Why do you whine so much about this or that? No, I'm taking my reaction to bring awareness to the companies that make these things. If I do it and other people follow suit, these companies will act. And I'm not taking credit for it on this, but don't you think that maybe some of that bitching that I did had a little something to do with what happened with I mean, we shut their customer service down for 2 days, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I think we had something to do with this being changed by me constantly bitching about it and making such a big deal and calling Ken Booth out and all his bullshit. So that's where I'm excited. Just there's so much tech in here. Hopefully I can find something. If I don't find something, you probably won't hear a whole lot of it on my channel, because that's just how I am. You don't see a whole lot of Autel light with me right now because it's working pretty good. I'm not crazy about the camera. I could say more about that, but a lot of my camera problems too are myself. So as Chad says, trust the settings. Trust the settings.
Trust the numbers.
Trust the numbers. Don't worry about it. Just trust it. I can't. I just can't.
Yeah.
So, and then I get a bad quality video. So, but right now out here, we don't have our colors yet. So it's very hard for me. And once we have our colors, I will definitely be able to say, hey, you know what? This camera sucks. I don't like it. And it's not necessarily the camera. It's just, I think, the fact that they're just not putting into it firmware-wise what they should be putting into it. Because I repaired drones. I had an Evo 2. It was a complete wreck, and redid it for the guy. I was out flying it, and I hadn't flown mine in a while, so I was out flying his as a test after rebuilding it. And I was like, definitely not same cameras, because the firmware is totally different in the Evo 2 versus the Lite Plus, at least in my capabilities. My minor capabilities, I was able to put a really pretty image on that Evo 2 versus the Lite Plus. Then again, that be said, there's people out there flying the Lite Plus who live in paradise, and they're showing some incredible images with that Lite Plus. So it's all in the hands that have it, and that's another reason why I liked the Nano Plus. Like I said earlier, you can just point and shoot for the most part, and you're not gonna get a shitty image. Where the Lite Plus, if I just went right with its base settings, I'll get crap. Not total crap, but things that other people are going to constantly be saying, you're overexposed, you need to do this, you need to do that. The Nano, you pretty much put it out there and everybody's like, look at the camera on that thing. So but going back to Chris, talking about the strap and the lanyards, that's a big beef with me on quads, and I wish I had it handy, because Chad, you saw it. I think Don, you saw it. It's in the case. I made my own lanyard strap on the Air 2S, or my own lanyard hook on the Air 2S. Now, Dobo's got that one that goes to the top. That's actually better for the triple tech because it's higher for balance, but I milled one with a mill out of stainless steel, and it looks just like the lanyard hooks you find on some of the controllers. And literally drilled a hole, took the cover off of, took the controller apart, drilled a hole where it was best suited, and that holds the strap, holds my lanyard perfectly. But with the triple tech, it's still top heavy and doesn't work out. So that controller went to the Mini 2. And then I just swapped controllers out, because with the Mini 2, I always use my phone. I don't use a triple tech, so far anyhow. But every quad needs to have a strap to where, especially if you got a nice little belly you've worked on for years, like I do. Don, you doing your exercises with your water rowing?
I got the belly.
Okay, you got to keep the belly. For drones, you have to keep the belly. And the most guys out there that I see on YouTube, they all have the belly. They would all probably agree with me. That thing with the lanyard rests perfectly at your belly. So that smart controller having, or a pro controller having them at the bottom, it's just not going to work on the belly. So you're going to have a belly you can set a beer on for that controller.
Well, compared to some of the bellies I saw in a recent meetup video, I think yours is on the small side, my friend.
Yeah, the meetup's got a lot of bellies. And had I gone to that one, I would have fit in with some of the bellies. My belly's not as big as some of those bellies, but that's a part of getting older, buddy. The huge muscle I used to have up here, like, dude, I was I was stacked. It just fell. It just went straight to my stomach, and now I'm stacked down there. No, I was always very slim. I had a metabolism where I could eat. You're not buying any of that bullshit. But I could eat as much as I wanted and not gain an ounce. And you get into the habit of I can eat 12 tacos and not anymore. So everything you eat goes straight there. Like I have no fat anywhere else on me. It's just the belly. But
well, I need to go make another drink. So
all right, so let's call it a end. I'm just looking at the very end. Chris Wedgeworth, thank you very much for hanging out as long as you have. That's your old message, but I'm seeing what the Sunny Life is a no drill. Yeah, and it's just like I guess the Sunny Life is just kind of like what Dobo made as well. But Chris, I just wanted to say thank you for hanging out as long as you have, because I don't always see you at my live streams, but I do like to see when you are. I like that. I like you as a person from what I've seen of you, and of course everybody else. But sometimes I see you just in the beginning and not out towards the end, and worry that maybe we bored you here. But it is nice to see everybody that has been here from the start to the end. We know where people like Maddie went, and Sergio and Michael went. We know exactly where they went. As a matter of fact, they were surfing both live streams at the same time, and then realized that better go over there. These guys need our help because we have all the answers. We'll give it to them. No, that's where Maddie's good in those kind of chats, because he'll correct every single piece of information they give that's wrong. And so maybe that's what he's doing. He's out doing his public service right now, so that's why he can't be in our live stream. But yeah, 46 people. I always end the show with about 45, 46 people. I didn't pay attention to how high we got. I do have a text message that said I broke 80. Yeah. Wow, over 80 people. So that was cool, if that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's somebody else's. Was it? Okay. I was going to say maybe I better reread that, because he might be talking about somebody else's chat live stream. But Chris, sub to you, Don. He's got a nice little channel. If you like homestead stuff, let me go ahead and I'm gonna give you your little commercial here, Don. I'm gonna do it for you. He does modern day homesteading. And I used to be his number one fan, but I've slacked off here lately. I used to be like really quick in the comments to his videos, but I've slacked off. And it's him, his lovely wife, his lovely young daughters, and they have built their own house and bought a nice little piece of property up in the mountains of Virginia. And just taking you along for a ride as they have built their house and how they do all the things they do inside and outside, and their ducks and different ventures they're taking, and soon to have an Airbnb. Maybe not soon, but in the future, the plans are to have an Airbnb, which I definitely will get in line to go stay at. Because if you just go visit Don, he only wants me there for a couple hours. But if I rent the Airbnb, I'll stay overnight.
I'll waive the cleaning fee.
What's that?
I said I'll waive the cleaning fee.
Okay. All right, good. I'll make a mess. Actually, you've got one of the cleanest clean freaks in a situation like that there is. So you won't have to clean up much after me. Plus, I don't bring a whole lot with me, just so you have plenty of plugs for charging. Make sure you cover all the outlets and no tripping breakers. All right, guys. So it's all into just kind of lanyard talk now, so we can go ahead and end on that. But another thank you to Chris for subscribing to Don, and you guys all know Chad here. I think Don was kind of a hit tonight. Don got a lot of questions. People actually think he knows what he's talking about. He kind of does. We both gave him all the instructions prior to the show. He didn't know what a DJI was.
Oh my god!
We had to tell him that drone that he owns is a DJI, and this is just a smaller version of that. So no, but Don, you were pretty popular tonight, so that means we'll have you back. We'll let you come back. All right. Okay, guys. So, anybody have anything coming up you want to sell? I don't.
Nope.
Just look for us all to have the new DJI Mini 3, and I'm sure I'm gonna put out maybe 1 or 2 videos hopefully before then. And
we should fly all 3 of them together. 3 Mini 3s in the same space.
Be our first flights. Come to Virginia. I can't venture off like that. Could be a baby anytime, so I gotta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
right. Yeah.
Gonna be a grandpa. So, all right, guys. Thank you all for coming and sticking it out with us, and stick with us for once we get these, and we'll look forward to all of you that have it as well. And hopefully, this is a good, well-deserved venture with a new quad for a change. Which I'm hopeful and thinking it is. So with that being said, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love.